Once upon a time, in a bright and beautiful kingdom called Sunvale, there lived a little dragon named Draco. Now, Draco was not like other dragons. While his brothers and sisters could breathe strong flames and make the air sparkle with fire, Draco could not. Every time he tried, something very strange happened. Bubbles came out of his mouth, big, shiny, colorful bubbles that floated gently into the sky. Draco felt very embarrassed about this. Why can't I breathe fire like everyone else? He often thought. What kind of dragon am I if I can only make bubbles? Draco lived with his dragon family in a rocky cave at Sunvale. His mom, Queen Ember, was fierce, and his dad, King Flint, was strong. His siblings Blaze, Scorch, and Spark were awesome at breathing fire. Blaze could make a huge flame as tall as a castle tower. Scorch could burn wood with just one breath. Spark, the youngest, could light up dark caves with his glowing fire. But poor Draco, when he opened his mouth to breathe fire, pop, 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 out came shiny bubbles. The other young dragons laughed at him. Look, Draco makes soap bubbles, giggled Spark. Maybe we should wash dishes with him instead of fighting battles, teased Blaze. Draco's cheeks turned red. He didn't like being laughed at. He wanted to be like the others. He wanted to feel strong and brave, but all he had were bubbles. One day, Draco decided he would practice very hard. He climbed to the highest rock near the mountain and whispered to himself, I will do it this time. I will breathe fire. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and let out the strongest roar he could. But instead of fire, hundreds of colorful bubbles flew out, filling the air with pink, blue, green, and golden circles. The wind carried them across the valley, where children from the village below saw them. Look, magic bubbles! The children shouted with joy. They clapped their hands and laughed as the bubbles floated down. But Draco did not feel happy. He sighed. They think it's fun. But I wanted fire, not fun. He went back to the cave, feeling small and weak. Days passed, and Draco still could not breathe fire. The other dragons trained with King Flint, learning how to defend the kingdom with flames. Draco sat alone, blowing bubbles by accident. He felt useless. Maybe I don't belong here, Draco whispered to himself. Maybe a dragon without fire is no dragon at all. His mother, Queen Ember, noticed his sadness. She came and wrapped her wing around him. My dear Draco, she said softly, you are different, yes, but different does not mean bad. Sometimes being different is a gift. Draco looked up at her. A gift? But I can't help anyone with bubbles. Queen Ember smiled. We will see, little one. One day, you will understand. One summer morning, trouble arrived in Sunvale. Two nearby villages, Brookhaven and Stoneford, began to fight. They argued about the river that flowed between them. It is our water, shouted the people of Brookhaven. No, it is ours, argued the people of Stoneford. The fight grew worse each day. The villagers shouted, threw stones, and refused to share food or water. King Flint and Queen Ember grew worried. If the villages did not stop fighting, the kingdom would fall into chaos. The dragon family was called to help. Blaze, Scorch, Spark, said King Flint, you will fly over the villages and show your power. Maybe they will stop fighting when they see the strength of dragons. The three young dragons roared and breathed fire into the sky. Flames lit up the clouds. The villagers stopped fighting for a moment, but soon they started again, even louder than before. Fire had only frightened them, not solved the problem. Draco watched all of this from the mountain. His heart hurt. He wished he could help, but what could he do? Then, without thinking, he flew down closer to the villages. Another dragon! Shouted the people. Draco panicked. He didn't want to scare anyone. He tried to breathe fire, but of course, pop, pop, pop. A stream of colorful bubbles poured out of his mouth. They floated over the river, shining like rainbows in the sunlight. The villagers stopped shouting. The children gasped with joy. Even the adults couldn't help but smile. The bubbles gently landed on people's heads, noses, and hands. Some burst with a soft plop, making everyone laugh. Look at the dragon, cried a little boy. He makes magic bubbles. The villagers who had been angry just moments ago now began to laugh together. They forgot about their fight. They clapped, danced, and played with the bubbles. For the first time, Brookhaven and Stoneford were happy together. King Flint and Queen Ember were amazed. "Draco," said King Flint, "you have done what none of us could. You brought peace without fire." Draco blinked. "Me? But I only made bubbles." "Yes," Queen Ember said proudly, "but those bubbles carried joy. They reminded people of happiness instead of anger. That is your gift." From that day on, whenever there was trouble in Sunvale, Draco flew in and blew bubbles. Villagers forgot their anger, children laughed, and people became friends. Soon, Draco was known as the Bubble Dragon, not a scary fighter, but a gentle peacemaker. 1 year later, Sunvale celebrated its grand festival, the biggest party of the year. There were colorful flags, music, dancing, and food. But something was missing. "What can we do to make this festival unforgettable?" the villagers asked. "Call Draco!" shouted the children. When Draco arrived, everyone cheered. He opened his mouth wide and blew the biggest stream of bubbles the kingdom had ever seen. The bubbles sparkled with rainbow colors, some shaped like stars, others like hearts and flowers. They floated high into the sky, shining brighter than lanterns. The people laughed, danced, and clapped. The children tried to catch the bubbles, while the adults admired the glowing sky. That night, the festival became the most joyful celebration in Sunvale's history, all thanks to Draco. Draco no longer felt embarrassed. He no longer wished to breathe fire. He had discovered something far more special. His bubbles brought people together. His brothers and sisters admired him now. "Your bubbles are better than fire," admitted Blaze. "You can make peace where we cannot," said Scorch. "And your parties are the best," laughed Spark. Draco smiled. For the first time in his life, he felt proud. He understood his mother's words at last. Sometimes being different is a gift. And so, the dragon who couldn't breathe fire became the kingdom's greatest peacemaker, the happiest party planner, and the most beloved dragon of all. Thank you so much for watching this video.